We have with us Caitlin Wiesen. She is the resident representative of the United Nations Development Programme. Thank you, Caitlin, for joining us here on DD India. We've seen the report. Although India has slightly improved on the Human Development Index, a lot more still needs to be done. Tell us about the key factors and the takeaways that would lead to more improvement and more progress than what we see right now.
Great. Jessica, thank you very much, and thank DDD India for inviting me here today to share with you some of the findings of the Human Development Report that has just been issued. As you've said, the Human Development Report this year has shown that there has been improvement since the last report was issued for India. The improvement has been over all the indices. So the key indices are life expectancy at birth, there's mean school years, and then there's the third one is GNI per capita. And there have been very important, it's been modest in some cases, but there has been improvement.
We're living in a time where seeing global conflicts take place both in Ukraine as well as the Middle East, and also COVID-19, it left quite an impact. There were a lot of countries in the global south that were not able to cope with the pressures. How do these countries prepare better for external shocks, and what kind of help do they need in terms of improving their Human Development Index?
Yeah, so very good question. And I think one of the findings of the Human Development Report this year is that the recovery from COVID was very unequal. And the countries that were wealthier did better, and the countries that were poorer did worse, and that there's a growing divide. I think one of the lessons from that have been learned is the importance of what we're calling digital public goods. Digital public goods that are going to be able to deliver and make sure that no one is left behind. In this context, I would say, in the context of India, there's been quite the important takeaway for India was the use of digital infrastructure. And the digital infrastructure, India's been a forerunner in adapting this, and I think the report highlights, some of the successes with the utilization of the India Stack, so-called India Stack, that during COVID was able to, deliver benefits to those who are very vulnerable during the crises. Also, together with UNDP, there was a development of a digital platform called CoWIN. And CoWIN was a way of tracking all the vaccine supply chain and ensuring the registration of all those who had taken the vaccine, and enabled India to deliver 2 billion vaccines within its borders. So I think this was an extraordinary experience, and during that time also India was a bridge providing vaccines to many different countries. So I think this vaccine diplomacy was critically important, and a way that was positioning India to share its own wealth with others to enable them to cope. I think we need to look more creatively at the digital public goods, the goods platforms, and what can be offered in this context. And I would add that, one of the other findings is the critical importance of Sustainable Development Goals and developing long-term resilience. And here, India again is to be commended for using the opportunity of its presidency of the G20 to also situate the Sustainable Development Goals as central to the development agenda. And this was critically important for putting attention back and focus on the range of development goals which will help build resilience. The key message of the report also is that we're interdependent. We're interdependent societies, and so that we really need to find ways to collaboratively work together and find creative forms of collaboration to help address some of these external factors that will enable all countries to move forward. And India's already showing leadership in this domain that's very important for others.
India has set a national goal for itself to become a developed nation by 2047. How do you look at this particular initiative, and what more do you think can be done, and what does the course look like at this point? How do you think the world is looking at India's attempt to now move fast towards the development goal?
So I think globally there's a great appreciation for the global role that India has played on the G20, putting SDGs at the center of the development agenda. Looking at India's own progress towards the Human Development Goals and the Sustainable Development Goals, good progress has been made but much more needs to be done. And this is across all the key indicators of human development. I would say one of the areas requiring particular attention that emerges from the Human Development Report is the critical importance of bridging the gap in labor force participation. India's growth has been really impressive over these past years. What's important is to ensure that the quality of growth is also reaching those who are most left behind, that it's generating jobs that are going to benefit women, jobs that will benefit youth, jobs that will benefit marginalized people, so that all of India moves forward towards 2047 and not just part. So I think good progress has been made, it's laid a good strong foundation, and now is the time to leapfrog during the next stage.